This podcast is supported by Know the Culture, PhysioFix, Redeem Tattoo, and presented by Session Box TV.
Hey guys, my name is Congmon, the host of the Beginner's Mind podcast. Today we're here at Omega Boxing Gym. We're gonna train with Doc J, meet some of his fighters, and then after the whole session, we're gonna do a quick interview with Doc J, ask him about Filipino boxing community, the Omega Boxing promotions, and we're gonna ask him what the future of Omega Boxing is here today. So just stay tuned. So that's it, guys. We're just done hitting the heavy bag for a few rounds. Now we did some mitt work with Doc J. After that, we're gonna do some interview questions with him. We're gonna ask him some interesting questions about the state of Filipino boxing, ask him about the future of his fighters and the future of Omega Boxing promotions. Hey guys, welcome to the Beginner's Mind podcast. My name is Congmon. Today, we're here with none other than Doc J, head boxing coach here at Omega Sports Boxing. Doc J, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Welcome to Camp Combate.
Thank you so much. Wow, really great facilities here. You have a lot of fighters here, I'm sure a lot of people are asking, how did Doc J, what is the journey, the beginning of Doc J here at the Omega Sports Promotions?
Before it all started, me and Paulo are good friends. Jud Micaela na mi. And then, young brothers, Paul Jake, schoolmate me sa San Carlos. So, migo na mi. And then, at that time, mga 13 years ago, ni take og board sa akong pagka-criminologist. Mm-hmm. So, at that time, wasa ko'y work sa Jud. So, Paulo offered me this job. So, dito na lang sugod. So, right now, we are 9 years na mi nga gakuyog aning business.
Pero before ato, you were already into boxing na? Or?
Yes, mga 9 years old pa lang ko, akong dad nag-introduce na niya akong sa kaning boxing. So, muna siya, that time VHS pa to. So, Tyson era. So, dito si Mike Tyson was the one who influenced me kaning boxing. Jud kanang minaldito nga boxing ba. So, mo to dito ko nagsugod. Then, hantod nga nag-amateur ko. Pag-college, then mo na to. Dito na nag-start na.
So, dito na nag-start.
Yep.
Who was one of your first ever fighters na imong gipang train?
Sila sa una, sila Chris Rosales, dugay na kayo na 9 years ago. Silang Rama, silang Jack Tipura.
Yeah, unsa may feeling ato, it's my first time to ever coach. Kag na-nervous ato gamay? Or
wala? Ang pagsuod na ko sa industry is dili kay welcome kas ang mga old coaches kay mo ana jud nila nga nganong naman sila diri nga di man na sila boxer. Ang mentality jud nila kung mo trainer ka is boxer ka. So dito ang challenge ng sugod.
Mo bitaw kay sometimes I think with every other sport if a newcomer is there dapat na jud kay credentials to be a coach, but actually just like look where you are now, nag head coach ka diri sa Omega, so doesn't really, the credentials are not necessarily needed, no? As long as you have the passion for it, then why not?
Mawjud.
Bitaw, dugay, so 9 years with Omega, with obviously with your Omega Boxing president, Mr. Pio Paulo Castillo. How was your relationship grown over the years? Because if you look at Omega today, like we have world-class fighters, you have really great facilities. Obviously, your relationship with President Pio Paulo Castillo has, been through a lot.
Yeah, constant communication. I believe in his capabilities, iyang vision. Okay, siya ko naman president. So, teamwork lang. So, ni work naman sa siya kay sa paglarga-larga na mo sa gawas, maka-cut-on man sad mig mga bagong style, bagong lahi na sad nga pamaagi sad, especially sa promotions and sa diri sa training. So mga to.
Yeah, recently I saw na you guys visited the US, no? Kao, si Pio, si Christian, no? Araneta. So what did you guys do over there, and what were some of the experiences na you remember?
Actually, fight to ni Nonito Donaire against Alejandro Santiago. Nga undercard mi sa usa sa mga dako sad nga fight sa karon lately. So Terence Crawford versus Spence. So kit-an jud na nimo tanan superstars. It's like living the American dream. Kinsa may ganahan didto ka nag-train ka sa Las Vegas for 2 months. So makita mo tanang boxing personality, so lingaw siya ang experience daw. So mao to siya nga na-inspire me idadre ang vibe sa Las Vegas nga when it comes to promotion, it's about party. So dili ra na ingon nga nan-hour mo boxing. So kani siya all in all package na siya DJs, na drinks, na foods, like a festival.
Experience jud siya, no? Not just for fighting, it's entertainment. It's the entertainment business, like Money Floyd Mayweather. So, like, if you see his promotions, grabe jud kay ang production, ang, all those other details are very kanang luxurious jud ang tanan ba. So, yeah, in the US, besides the promotional side, what have you learned in terms of, ang mga boxing? Like, what are some of the things you've learned in the US na you brought it over here?
Paano yung ang styles, dako nakita ang mga styles, ang the way they train, the way they recover, ang science sa ilang gipang buhat nga which is behind kay tas tanan nga hesitant ang Filipino boxing mo nga mo adapt ana kay di sad ka blame kuwang suporta diba gasto man jud. So yeah, advantage dako kay sila advantage sa technology aning boxing.
Lagi mo old school pa kay sometimes the older generation they tend to do the old school type of training, Balboa style, Rocky Balboa, but you mentioned science, you mentioned the future. How does the strength and conditioning play a part in your fighters?
For me, it's a 50-50. If maayo ka nga boxer and then kuwang kag condition og strength, so di gyapon ka mo work kay ang fight 12 rounds. So if you're a good boxer, maybe you will win couple of rounds like 1 to 6 kay maayo man ka. After that, magkaluyan nimo diha na magduwa diha. So for me, it's 50-50. So mo bitaw na sports science. So kana siya kinahanglan jud na siya apply sa di lang sa boxing, sa tanang sports.
But here in your with your fighters here, who's usually managing the strength and conditioning?
We have our stay-in coach Ernest Ibanez. So naroon na siya dire. So ano na siya. Mo na siya ang nag-handle sa mga strength conditioning.
Okay. Because usually for me, like wala ko strength and conditioning coach, pero right now I'm doing jiu-jitsu, grappling, and then I try to add in some strength and conditioning, but in terms of schedule, I find it quite difficult. So for your fighters, how do you manage to do boxing, strength and conditioning? Because over fatigue is very common, di ba, sa mga athletes. So how do you manage that?
So ang schedule naman nimo is ang morning is strength and conditioning. Kasabot ang strength conditioning is you work on your stamina and your strength. So kung sa boxing ko, akong focus is masayon na akong work kaya I will focus on my skills. Di ba? Pag unsaon na nila, pagpapaayo na lang nila kay kung skills training ra ka, you need time para pahanginan ilang stamina, ilang endurance. So dapat nimo ma-manage na siya nimo. So twice to thrice na sila a day mo train. So
Kapoy sa day.
Mura sag manok ba?
But I have huge respect for these fighters, the boxers here. If you're competing in a sport like this, it takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of commitment to really push yourself, no? With Omega Boxing promotions, no, you have a lot of great fighters. We have Christian the Bomb Arnetta, we have Alexander who just won recently, diba? I'd like to focus on those two specific fighters. What's next for Christian the Bomb Arnetta?
Right now, Araneta is currently ranked number 1 in the world. So waiting na lang me for World Championship, maybe this May or June. Hopefully we can promote it here in Cebu in New Star. and you will be the ringside reporter.
Let's go.
So ano siya Christian is na staying ready rin na siya kasi anytime pwede na siya maduwa.
Okay.
And for Alexander, he needs to get a lot of experience, so more local fights para where on ay nag-transition pa mi sa pro style of fighting kasi from amateur na siya, it's a different so mo na siya ron. So mga 5 more fights maybe pwede na may mo abroad.
But what happened to his recent fight? I think in New Star, so supposedly he was supposed to fight one of the big veterans of boxing.
Kay gi-cancel to siya kay they thought it was a mismatch kay against 34 wins. So 35 years old, so veterano na sa boxing. Sa mora na shit happens, pero next time kuhaon na namo nga about yapon.
Sayang I was like na-cancel. Pero sige na lang. So next, hopefully
next fight.
Now, I also recently saw you had sort of like an tryouts here, no? For Omega. What was that all about?
Recruitment. So, bago na sad niyo mga sila 2004 recruits. So sila karon nana ko mo debut nga tulo.
That was by invite ra or open?
Mo-apply sila then screen na mo. So kung kinsa tong mapilian so mo sila dire. And then 1 month na siya nga na try out. After 1 month then we decide kung dawat ka or di.
So kani sila, di ba?
So out of mga 15 ka buok na inadawat nga unom.
Okay. And then na sila upcoming fight, di ba? I think it was in Masbate.
Tulo sila ka buok mo debut nako. So sa Masbate, Kawayan.
Okay.
So first debut nila.
So kung mga amateur boxer there, if you're interested, can train here with Doc J. But the question is like, what does it take for you to see na, okay, this fighter has the talent. You can see potential in the fighter. What does it take? Because obviously 2,000 kapin, that's a lot of fighters and it will take something to stand out. So what's that for you as a coach?
For me, it's ngayo lang kog 30% skills, then 70% ang heart ni mo na diri. Because daghan mga maayo pero di man mo survive. Diba? Why perseverance? They're not built for this. So di jud sila para ani kay ang usa ni siya pinakaluod nga sport siguro para nako kay sige repetition ba. Sige balik-balik ang imong buhaton every day is magpa-kondisyon, ighapon, skills training, and then you sleep, eat, repeat. So laay jud kay siya sa sugod jud. Pero kung maabot na sa tip top sa jud, makabawi sa jud ka.
Lagi. Then, for the amateurs, so you picked a few now and then they're gonna be fighting in Masbate. What other, are there any other programs na Omega's offering besides just the amateur tryouts?
Maybe sunod mag-open ko bootcamp.
Okay.
Yeah, for non-boxers lang ba, mga fan raw siya.
Mga fan.
So, mag-open tag bootcamp. Pwede kayo. So pasingot na siya, di ba? Pagwapo ba?
Pero like obviously there's a really big difference when it comes to the fitness side of boxing and this obviously combat side of boxing. So sometimes I'm good. Like I'm pretty sure you've encountered some people who train at, let's say, the fitness gyms, the mga boxing, meet sila, and then they already think na, kamaon ako mo boxing. But I'd say it's a different experience if you really mag-sparring ka, magbuhat ka sa bag work. It's a really different experience na maka-learn ka like every country or every nation here in the world has really different styles in terms of boxing. So you have the Mexicans who are very brawler mindset na sila. You have the Russians who are very athletic footwork. How have you been able to create your own unique way of having that brand Doc J na kay imong own unique style?
Ang style naman jud nako is I'm very defensive minded. So it's always defense first. Ang nganong defense first na siya kay akong gusto jud is kung retire akong boxer, healthy sila. Healthy sila, dili ko gana mo retire sila nga libat na sila, di na sila kitag tarong. So ang health jud akong giuna. And then I specialize in distance management. So and especially sa form, balance o o execution sa imong mga sumbag kay ang ubang coaches mutudlo sila is unsaog pasigilag pakusog power speed. Ako tudloan ti ka unsaog labay nga makusgan ka. Dili ka tika tudloan papakusog. So tagaan tika tudloan tika the proper way unsaog deliver kay ang power mo eventually will come kung you have the right balance, form, technique. So para nako isang ang power na sa technique di kay kumutuan ng maskulado ka and then kusgan ka. Sa boxing is not about power, size or length. For me, it's a really sweet science.
Sweet science bitaw siya. It's because everyone has different approaches. Kana you have the sweet science. Some people notice mga Mexicano grabe kayo like brawl jud ba no? Now, you've been in the industry, the boxing industry for almost 10 years, no? So, what have you noticed? What are the major differences, no, from when you started up to today? Has it grown or?
Ni grow gamay kay I think ako yung impact kay before pagsud nako aning boxing kis kanang ang mga trainer di man kay mo invest equipment. So ako kay di mo ko ganahan og kanang akong mates is gihatag sa kompanya. Ganahan jud ko mo invest for myself. So mo invest sa equipments. So unsay gipanggamit nila sa gawas? Like the noodle stick, the power pads, the power protector. Daghan pa kita man mo sa among bird cage, kita mo nang among heavy bag na mulihok. So innovation, so mo siguro nang impact siguro kung namagay ko na impact aning nahatag aning sa Philippine boxing so
that's good because obviously as a sport we want the ganahan jud ta mga Pinoy daog jud mga champion right. Obviously Manny Pacquiao, you have other great other great fighters or Filipinos. So we also want to inspire the next generation of fighters to really kanang adapt and innovate to become champions, no? So right now, what are the next future plans for Omega Boxing Promotions? What are the next coming events? Are there any upcoming fights for your big fighters?
Yes, Christian Araneta, maybe May or June. Mao to siya yung pinakadako guro nga mong gi-project this year. So, World Championship, maybe against the Thailander mo to next in line sad. So, hopefully, may tabo dyan na nga makapromote ta balik og World Championship diri sa Cebu. Because, murag dugay-dugay na dyan ta wala naka-promote diri World Championship diri Cebu.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that promotions here in the Philippines aren't as as being supported like in the US and Japan?
Wala kay suporta and mahal mo jud mo promote then mubayad pa ka sa opponent. Dagko yung purse especially kung World Championship. Unlike in the other countries nga na sila governments nga motabang so mas dakog chance nga madadyo ang World Championship niya dere kay ang IPI private man so plus kung makakita tag sponsor so kasi may tabo na dire ang World Championship.
Yeah, I believe Cebu deserves that already. Manila, I'm not so sure what the scene is like, the boxing scene there is, but for Cebu, obviously, I really believe Omega's the number one promoter here. So hopefully again, new start May or June, July, June, sorry, May or June. So it's gonna be a really big one for Cebu and for Christian the Bomb Araneta. And then, muatosan mo sa Masbate.
Diba? Madto may Masbate sa March 8. Ay tulo ka boxer mo debut. Si Junamar Lorenyo, Jobert Kahimat, o si Mark Hill Gandhi.
Oh, great. So, now this is an interesting question. Like, obviously, with the state of boxing now, we have a lot of these influencer boxers like Logan Paul, Jake Paul,
Salt Papi.
Oh, but Pinoy
pero mamayo si Salt Papi.
May si Salt Papi. What's your take on that? Do you think it's destroying the image of boxing, or do you think it's promoting the image of boxing to the rest of the world?
I think both. So naay siya pros and cons. So kato pong sa uban pod nga naning nga boxer nga naning kamot ka nga mo may mong world champion pero sila nga naa sila kwarta para ika-support sila dali ra kay sila nila kabuot ba ang fame ba Then murag unfair sa katong naning kamot nga gusto sa mo kaduwag Olympics, may mo pro, may mo world champion. Pero at the same time, ang katusang ilang gibuhat is nagpasikat man pud siya sa boxing good. So di sa ka ingon nga wa siya impact, dako ka siya impact.
Yes.
So si Jake Paul kadako nag impact pero di ko ganahan na tong versus Mike Tyson.
Lagi. Kay, bitaw, that fight was pretty na-shock diba? I was like, away pa ni si Tyson na yung tigo. Manoy-manoy naman siya.
Yeah.
What about boxing is part of a wide range of other types of martial arts. You have MMA right now, kickboxing. What are your thoughts on bare knuckle boxing? I'm very interested to know that.
Nindot na siya kung pang-retire ba? pero ano mo siya ba? Brutal ra kayo. Brutal ra kayo siya.
Bare knuckle, so wala kay gloves. You're not wearing any gloves.
Kibaw ka kung pila na yung mga premyo, ana?
No, but
wala
I
ko,
think
pero
gamay
na yung premyo, yeah. So, di ba? Mas gamay ang premyos. Pero mga wash fighters naman sa dang mga manuwa diha.
Bitaw, McGregor's even there. Who else? Mga the ex-UFC fighters. But yeah, I believe it's very brutal. Mashock sa ko lang sabihan na ni. How do usually kanang mga do other fighters from other disciplines come visit your gym, like let's say from MMA or from kickboxing? Do they train here also?
Na mo train diri mga MMA fighters, mga 1FCs. Sa naiuban mga kickboxer from sa Morocco.
Okay.
Uban kay from naimo ari diri from Denmark kuno. And then napadjud koy usa day nga moabot day tomorrow. 6'1". Phil-Am niya 1-0 na siya, national champion sa Texas.
Boxing.
So boxing, yeah. So maybe basig musahin siya dere. Kay niari naman ni abot naman from the US.
What's the process usually for that? Like you gave me examples of people reaching out to you. So what's your selection process? Okay, just come here. Come here and then we'll see what you got and then we'll sign a contract. What's the usual?
Mura nag-apply ko kag trabaho nga nakay resume, experience. Experience or naka-medals or your height, your weight, then try out sparring, then try out for 1 month. Process.
And then the camp will be here.
Will be here.
So brutal kayo yung camp or?
Hindi man ako unsay gibuhat sa mga pros nako, mura man po yung mga ipabuhat.
Okay. What do you see now the future of obviously, as time goes on, the next generations will be stepping in. What's your vision for the promotion itself, for your fighters, you as a coach?
Yeah, akong vision is mahimo tang producer of pay-per-view talent.
Okay.
Ganahan ko kung moingon og Philippine boxing, makahuna-huna kag Omega boxing or Doc J boxing. So diha mo jud na atong goal jud. Not just world champion cause makakuha kag world champion overnight, for me murag kuwang ra kayo. So lahi ra jud ang pay-per-view talent.
Yeah, what about your who do you see yourself like 10 years from now? Medyo laid back na ka or you're just still coaching?
Oro gyapon di man ta maniguang vampire man ta.
Bitaw same as me, bitaw I don't do boxing but I do jiu-jitsu, I do kickboxing. Like I really don't see myself not doing
ako sad same ta. Para na ko mora na siya. Mora man gyapon kung mas-successful ko ang akong lingaw mobalik man gyapon ko sa gym. So
like I don't see myself not doing anything else. For your case, you've been doing it 10 years. Like grabe na sad ka. For me, I've just 4 years nakapin, no. But that's the goal, sad, no. Like you inspire other fighters to be world champions. So it's really a great thing for Cebu and for Filipino boxing in general.
Yeah, and for my health also.
Of course.
Every day, di ba? Free ka nga mo workout. Ang uban, di ba, successful kayo sa ilang kinabuhi pero wala sila time para mo atong gym. Yes. Busy man, di ba?
Bitaw. And ang uban kani mga full-time fighters naman sila. Unlike ako, I'm working pa and then I have to imagine ako latahon pa ko sa gym. So but obviously boxing really is, I don't know, it's a really different. I would really tell people like, so boxing kailangan ka mo try. Very humbling jud ang martial arts no, experience, especially for the really kanang So my podcast is called The Beginner's Mind Podcast, obviously. So my main goal is I want to educate the beginners on the sport. What tips can you maybe give to some of the boxers or those people who just want to try boxing out in general?
For me, if you want to start boxing, always focus on your form, your balance, and the fundamentals. Because kadagharan man gud musudog boxing, they want all the fancy combination, fancy look. They want to look cool. So mao man yun kasagaran nila. Pero if you serious mo ning boxing, ganun mo boxing, focus on basics and fundamentals. Because everything will follow. Kanang imong fancy nga gusto mabuhat na nimo is fundamentally sound. Imo mabuhat na nimo ma-master nimo imong fundamentals. So stick to the basics, dapat consistent jud ni siya kay kung di ka consistent ang imong nakatunan for 5 months if munong ka mawa na siya dayon.
You lose it if you don't use it. So, consistency sa jud ang training. So karon you have your world champion boxers. Kinsa mo yung main or your dream matchup for your boxers? Like who is the dream matchup for you?
Dream matchup for Alexis is Emmanuel Navarrete.
Emmanuel, that's a veteran also.
Yeah, veteran na. Champion na siya sa 130 pounds. And for Christian Araneta, kay si Bam Rodriguez. Yeah.
All Filipino gyapon.
Dili na siya Filipino.
Si Bam?
World champion.
World champion. So, WBO?
WBO, I think so.
Okay. Why do you think there's like a lot of I really get that comment, especially for the just the casual fans about boxing. Why are there so many WBO, WBC, WB, so many WBs? Why do you think that exists today?
Dugay naman na siya. It's ang boxing na siya 4 sanctioning bodies. So the big 4 na siya. So WBO, WBA, IBF, WBC. Mo na siya recognized sa boxing. So, lahi rules, naigamay ng lahi rules. Pero kay, Wingong kag UFC, usare belt nila. So, sila ray magbuot sa ranking. So, kung mas hype ni siya, mas dali ni siya mo rank 1. But in boxing, upat imo mapilian. So, mura na siya liga ang upat.
Okay.
So, marank ka diri, pwede ka marank sa tanang sanctioning, pero ma-champion ka sa usa.
Okay.
And then if ma-champion ka karon four belt era.
Yes.
Daghan kay undisputed fight. So mo na nang uso ron, so unify ta ng belt.
Oh, okay. Because for the casual fans, they find it very confusing. Saning WBO, saning W. So basically that's the explanation for it. But there's so many champions, especially mga Pinoy, how has obviously Manny Pacquiao played a part in your you as a coach? Because he's a very big figure, especially here in the Philippines when it comes to boxing. Has he played any important role sa imong journey?
I trained with Manny once. Akong nakita jud niya is ang iyang work ethic. That's ko why makapildi guro niya sa iyang work ethic. Kung unsa siya ka-serious mo train. Para nako kung moingon ka sa skills, abilidad, okay, so. Pero makaingon man ka maayo siya, pero di jud kaingon nga maayo siya og form anana, pero sa ang yang heart ang work ethic niya di mapildi. Grabe jud siya mo train jud.
Mo ni sa Jensen, di ba?
Jensen niya.
Ito grabe niya. Hindi na karon nagpolitiko pa niya. Boxing pa kala.
Grabe kay siya mo train jud.
If you were to watch kinsa may your dream fight na imo watch live?
Dream fight? Canelo Crawford.
Bitaw, no? But I heard na cancel.
Wala na cancel lagi. Dinisod na kiro may tabo.
Do you think that's also do you also get the ma-irritsad ka ana because of the different types of organizations ba? They can't really work together.
Di na kay magausa na may promoter.
Okay.
So, kung di naman kasi nabot yung promoter, wa jud na siya fight may tabo. So, kwarta sa na siya, depende sa money sa ilang bahinay ba. Diya sa na siya magka-diferensya.
So, may take ni wala sa boxing politics because from what I read also, I listen to some news, like sometimes the promoters can be a bit too greedy, something fell off, or what's your take on the political side of the boxing promotions?
Mo na siya naama jud na bisag asa ka mato na normal mo jud ang politics, pero para nako is dapat before jud ka mo sign sa imong manager dapat sa sugod pa lang Ila juga sa imong manager promoter kay so masipyat kag sign. Muna ng problema mo sugod.
Oh, Jed. But bitaw, like, I see that a lot, especially with mga promotions.
Yes, kay labi na sa mga Pinoy nga mga boxer, no read, no write.
Most sad.
Diha na magka-problema jud. So maluoy ba jud ko ani diri sa tuwa diri kay moingon kag professional boxer is wa jud na siya kaskwela.
Yes.
Or elementary level lang na siya. So kung abot na sa mga contract, ang uban nga mga manager, promoter mo take advantage mo na siya bati ana diri sa tuwa.
Okay. Now, do you also incorporate other types of martial arts into your boxing? I recently saw you had Pro Franco, di ba?
Yeah, may incorporate mi sa clinching.
Okay.
So, dirty boxing.
Dirty boxing.
So, nami mga gitudlo ni Coach Franco before, like the clinching, unsay gunitan, asa itod, how do you control your opponent. So siya kinanglan jud na siya.
Dito.
Every year siguro na parion na siya namo kay para sa mga especially sa mga newbies namo. So dapat na siya nani kay background every departments like outside fighting, mid-range, close range, clinching, ropes. So na siya tanan.
Dito. It's more kag si Bruce Lee ba, no?
Di ba?
You blend with the other disciplines and then be like water. There's no true form ba?
Di ba? Like Lomachenko, naman siya wrestling. Di ba? So, gamit na siya. Inigdikit ninyo, di ba? Mas suskan kag kamot or kabaw ka mo position sa imong lawas, di ba?
Pero yung mga fighter, di mo pasayawon.
Di ba? Na ako rin sayawan.
Hindi, parehas ni Lomachenko, di ba? Like, I believe,
pag national team siya, so, di ba? Marag dance.
Ipasayaw mo siya.
Nindot na sa footwork.
Ito.
So, nindot kung imong anak, imong ipaboxing, dance class or taekwondo. For the footwork, no? Yeah.
That's pretty true.
Mga preparatory bago ka masudong boxing.
Have you ever encountered ka ng fighter nga late siya nag-start? Kanang let's say pina Deontay Wilder, pila edad niya 21 man siguro ito siya nag-start og boxing. Or?
Yeah, like you know Franco, right?
Oh yeah, Franco.
Franco bro. Late naman na siya.
Yeah.
Pero ang kaning uban kay mga 9 years old, 8 years old.
But you would say na nadyo difference, no?
Like, difference. Yeah, big difference. Sa experience pa lang.
Beto. Yeah. But my guy, no, he was able to adapt sa athletic. If you're athletically gifted, then I think dali ka maka-adapt. Beto. So, you know, other fighters, kinsa pa may mga other fighters na imong na-idolan, like you mentioned Tyson, Lomachenko, kinsa pa man, mga kag na-inspired ka ba?
Tank Davis, Terence Crawford.
One time ko, ganahan kag mga southpaw.
Hindi man, akong boxer ka ba, okay. 90% southpaw.
Okay.
Hibong sa dzgoan na.
You mentioned Crawford.
Yeah.
Do you ever incorporate switch hitting in your fighters? No.
Before, na ako'y boxer nga switch hitter.
Okay. Why do you think that's a modern approach now, switch hitting? Especially with like MMA, like Adesanya or grabe kayo sila mag-switch stance. What do you think the purpose of that is?
Unpredictable ka, pero lisod mo ko siya ba? Kaya you have to master the southpaw and the orthodox. Kaya ang southpaw lang dan, lisod na ba siya master tanan. Diba? And then, you need another, kung master kag 2 years sa tibuok stance na sa orthodox, 2 years, another 2 years na po para southpaw na po. Diba?
So, you have to be really gifted.
Gifted or dugay na juga aning boxing dyan.
Dugay na kayo. Ito, like, I noticed ka na mga southpaw dyan may, Lomachenko, Pacquiao, Crawford, kinsa pa dira, naghandyo ka ayo, no? What were like some of the encounters na you've had? You were like, or you met like one of the big guys in boxing. You mentioned before we had our talk here, dito ka sa Vegas, like, what's may mga experiences ni mga to we can share to the viewers na meron kang gagabihan na ni, meron kang
Mike Tyson. Hit, andyan ako siya. Nakaduol jud ko, nakalamano jud ko niya.
Okay.
So, starstruck lang ka mo, tanaw lang kaniya, di ka katingog ka ba?
Lani sa Vegas.
Sa Vegas.
Yung sa may like interaction ninyo, like pag-approach niyo niya.
Di ko kasabot siyang storyaan kay ana ko siya storya gud. Kaya Bisaya pa jud kita jud nga. Dito di ka kasabot lisod kung sabot.
Kasi may game like, hi Mike Tyson, I'm Doc J.
Pleased to meet you. Lamano lang.
Okay. Wala na siyang tiguwang sa niya.
Tiguwang niya siya.
Kinsa pa may other fighters?
Thomas Hearns. Si daghan kaya si Charlo Brothers.
Like, can you explain to me or like describe to me like what the experience is like? Because lahat jud siguro kayo ang Vegas, it's a different culture obviously. What was the whole experience like? Because you said you watched the fight also, diba? It was like from start of the event to the end. What was the feeling like?
So, starstruck ko sa mga nakita na ko baka. Sige kag tanaw sa YouTube nila. And then makita kag NBA players, Stephen A. Smith, Westbrook, silang Deontay Wilder. Niya akong tapad kay si Andy Ruiz, ko yung siyang anak. Si Alicia Baumgartners. So daghan kami nakitaan dyan. May ikog mo po kag duol. Pa-picture ka.
Bitaw.
Yeah, tanaw ka sa imong makilid ba nga wa man sila pa-picture. Yes, right.
But what was it like? Because I saw you also was with Donaire, diba? Obviously, like one of the best Filipino boxers here. What was that experience like? Was that your first international coaching event?
First to siya nako. Then gi-welcome jud mi niya, gi-invite may gi-tour mi niya sa Las Vegas sa mga
di siya kabawag Bisaya, di ba?
Kabawag Bisaya kayo. Saya kayo mo gani. So, lahat sa siyang experience bisig di na to mausab ba.
And then you also trained with, I think I saw Henry Cejudo,
the Korean Zombie, si daghan nakalimot ko sa uban
UFC
fighter sa Arizona to siya. So wala man mi gym, so ni hangyo mi nga pwede mi maka-train sa mga MMA, so okay naman sad nila sad.
And then you had Arnetta sparring there also, di ba?
Yeah.
So may experience sa that one. Was there anything you were like, hello, kaya tawa mo pa mo kita ani sa una? Or
it's like Filipino pride. So igsud mo dito, we were loud.
But like in terms of the opponents na gispar niya ba? Were there anyone na
dili sa top tier, dili man top tier among mga kaspar. Hopefully sunod maka kasparing mi. Gamay mo timbang sa Raneta, so gamay ra kay siya kasparing dito. 108.
Very good.
Unlike
mga Pinoy
kani si Alexis may nindot. Dadon sa US kay dako ba.
Lagi.
So daghan og sparring partners.
Ano siya no?
Half Swedish. Pero dili ba nakabag-o na kay bawo nag-talk mo siya ma'am. Di ba siya full blood Filipino siya. Okay. Pero sa Sweden siya nagdako.
Pila to yung amateur fight?
178 and 7. Padagan yung amateur. 6 times national champion.
That's very normal in amateur boxing, no? That volume of
maayo na. Sila dito, especially in Europe.
Normal
na siya. Daghan yung fights dito. Alas every week, muaway na sila dito.
But amateur na.
Amateur, yeah.
Grabe hagyapon eh. Bunog naman siguro kayo akong And then, after that, when you were with you met with the UFC fighters, like, so pa may lingaw ninyo dito sa US? Kaon, di ba? Lingaw, party.
Basically, training camp mangod siya. Wa siya party. Panagsara kayo. So, focus jud mi ato train, balay.
Okay.
Balik na pod, Starbucks na pod.
Katong sa Japan, when you went to Japan, that was in Inoue.
Training camp, yeah.
Yeah. So what was that like? Obviously, lahi jud ang culture sa
lahi pod sila ang culture sa Japan kay it's like ang gym nila murag temple ba. Kanang isud nimo, mubaw ka, hubuon nimo imong shoes, adto og locker room, and then solemn kay ang di kay wa ka makita nga magkatawa-katawa, magbugal-bugal. So lahi jud siya mga samurai. Kana jud akong pagtan-aw, murag mga samurai jud sila dito.
And then sila mga fighters, grabe sad kayo. Like I saw some of the sparring footage. Who was the fighter there representing Omega?
Pete Apolinar that time.
Okay.
So he was one of the sparring partner of Naoya Inoue.
This was when 3
years ago, 4 years, 3 years ago. Yeah.
So obviously, different culture na ng Japan, Philippines, different side. Asa mo yung lain lugar ganahan ka makasuway? Russia, you wanna try Mexico? Or?
Mexico, suway na ko Mexico, South Africa. Yeah. Mara guro, di ko ganahan sa layo kayo. Hadlo.
Kapoy na kay Larga. So, yes, again, Doc J, thank you so much for sharing your experiences, no? Sharing tips to the beginners out there watching the video. Talking about the future of Omega Boxing, the future of Filipino or Cebuano boxing. And for, coming here on the podcast, I'd like to give this token of appreciation
thank you,
from
Mark.
Redeem. Thank you so much for the support, guys. And thank you to also our other supporters out there. You have KTC, Know the Culture, represent. And thank you to PhysioFix for supporting the podcast. Doc J, thank you so much again for the podcast.
Salamat.
And I can't wait for your upcoming events here with Omega and for the future of your fighters. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark. See you around.